right up until the last minute of the first episode of the Kominsky method, I was 100% certain I was going to watch this. I was going to binge watch it. I thoroughly adored the first episode of the first season. The fact that there is now a final season, 22 episodes in total, I thought this would be a little package to binge watch. And I still feel like that, but the last minute made me question what's in store. Maybe in a good way, because it's unpredictable. I won't divulge what happens at the very end of this first episode until the very end of this discussion with a spoiler warning. But aside from that, I absolutely adored it. This first broadcast in 2018, and the show is created by Chuck Lorre, and the general premise of the show as a whole focuses on one aging actor, as he is described, Sandy Kominsky, played by Michael Douglas, and he is now earning a living as an acting coach. He's no longer an actor high in demand, but he had his years of success. And this first episode, at least, is partly about the time he spends coaching his students, and partly about other aspects of his life, and the way he interacts with Norman, played by Arkin, a close friend of his, and somebody else who may become prominent in his life. I can't say any more than that without spoiling something in the first episode. But it's an interesting setup, and I would get the impression that for the most part it's now going to be about his students and the teaching that he does against the backdrop of the everyday. So his family relations, things from his past that he maybe regrets. There's quite a bit of reflection here, which is certainly something that I had expected. And then we also get the acting classes, which for me is really interesting. I have done AmDram, I've done a lot of amateur theatre, but I'm not an actor by any stretch. So for me, I find that technical aspect of it very interesting, and I learned a few things from this first episode. And if that continues, that's certainly a great thing. I assume that if you are an actor or an aspiring actor, you will get a lot more out of this as well. So the first episode is really great, and the cast is fantastic. Obviously, Michael Douglas as Kominsky is fabulous. Really brilliant. I love the comedic delivery. It's quite dry at times, very witty at others. It's absolutely brilliant comedic timing, comedic delivery, and the dialogue itself it is fabulous. Alan Arkin as Norman. I'm still getting to grips with the character and what to expect from him, but I obviously liked him here. I really like Mindy, Sandy Kominsky's daughter, played by Sarah Baker. Something about that character that I really thoroughly enjoyed. I feel like, well, I hope we get a lot more out of her throughout the seasons as they progress, because there's just something about her. I can't put my finger on it, but I think she'd be really brilliant throughout. Nancy Travis as Lisa, absolutely fantastic. Emily Osment as Theresa. Didn't get to see too much of her, but from what I can tell, she's in it quite a bit going forward. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I really enjoyed it. Very well written, directed, of course, by Chuck Lorre. Brilliant acting from Michael Douglas. Fantastic premise, brilliant execution. Really great, emotive, and longer than I thought. It's 33 minutes, I think, which is really long for a TV episode. That's not quite as long as an hour. So the one spoiler, if you haven't seen this, is at the end, where she passed away and the mood just switched. But then the last beat was kind of funny, where one of them said, "How do we get out of here?" and the other one said, "Not a clue." There might have been an expletive in there or something. I can't remember the exact quote. But though that last second just took us out of the moment for a minute, to remind us that this is meant to be quite a funny show, but with deeper sentimental meaning. And I think it's really impressive. I was really pleased with it. But I watch comedies to escape the sad things, so I'm concerned that each episode, or every other episode, is going to be peppered with much more sentimental, emotional drama than comedy. And that is not the fault of the program. In this first episode, it's done it very well. It's just not what I personally look for from this kind of film. Feel free to let me know if that's the case. I will continue to watch it, but at the moment, if every episode is like this, with the balance between emotions and humour, or negative emotions and comedy, I probably won't end up binge watching it. But as an introduction to it, can't really complain. Pretty happy with it, very impressed with it, surprised it was cancelled after 3 seasons. An actor avoids chapter 1 in the Kominsky method. Pretty good.